On our wedding anniversary night, my husband, Henry, left early, claiming he had urgent company business. I didn't stop him. An hour later, photos of him kissing his mistress, Amelia, were plastered across all media outlets. The caption read, "Thank you for making my youthful dreams come true." The following evening, the hashtag Olivia out of the Hayes family shot to the top of social media trends. My assistant's phone calls bombarded my phone. "Ms. Olivia, all investors are demanding to withdraw their funds, and our stock has been halted." I set down the dragon I'd been toying with, picked up another phone, and spoke with calm finality. "Send out the notice. I want Henry's company to have all its logistics cut off before dawn. Ms. Olivia, Hayes PR department, Mr. William, and the board of directors, they've all been calling." Noah's voice came through the receiver, an uncontrollable tremor in it. They're all asking. Asking what?" I asked coldly. "They're asking if you're going to completely sever ties with the Hayes family. Ms. Olivia, 3 of our company's funding lines have already been frozen by the Hayes family's partner banks. If this continues, I cut him off. "Noah, what are you panicking about?" I walked to the liquor cabinet, poured a glass of whiskey, and didn't add ice. "Send out another directive. Notify everyone that from the coast to the interior, all the Brotherhood's docks, fleets, and warehouses are to begin inventory and renovation tonight. The reason given will be a fire safety inspection." Noah's breath hitched on the other end of the line. "Ms. Olivia, this means 80% of Hayes Tech's cargo will be impounded." "Then impound it," I said slowly, my voice carrying an undeniable authority. "Yes, Ms. Olivia," Noah replied instantly, not daring to ask another word. I hung up the phone and took a sip of whiskey, the fiery liquid burning my throat. 10 minutes later, financial news notifications pop. Head up on my phone screen one after another. Hayes Tech chain of complete, hundreds of cargo stranded at Havenport. Brotherhood affiliated undergoing rectification, multiple implicated. The news article included an aerial photo. Cargo trucks with the Hayes Tech logo stretched for several kilometers in a red line along the main roads leading to the Havenport. My personal phone screen lit up. It was Henry calling. I let it ring for half a minute before slowly answering. "Olivia." The background noise on the other end of the phone was chaotic, car horns blaring, people shouting, a complete mess. "You're trying to ruin me? All for a picture? You'd go this far?" I carried my glass of whiskey and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. Below, Henry's black Bentley had just screeched to a halt, the door opened, and he burst out. Watching him pace anxiously back and forth below, roaring into his phone, I couldn't help but sneer. "Henry, I'm simply helping you maintain some dignity." His suppressed question came from the phone. "What do you mean?" "Otherwise, tomorrow morning's news wouldn't be as simple as a logistics disruption," I said, my voice dismissive. "Instead, it would be about 6 of Hayes' core technicians having their hands restrained last night in the VIP suite of the Emerald and Loss." The other end of the line suddenly went silent. I could only hear his sharply intensified breathing. A few seconds later, he seemed to have moved to a secluded corner. "You used people from the family?" His voice was very low, every word laced with a warning. "Olivia, I'm warning you, don't drag that kind of shady business into my affairs." I smiled. "Henry, the bank only released the first startup capital for your company after my father signed off on it. The first multi-million-dollar order you secured was because I had Uncle bring the client to you. You do business on my territory, so you'll abide by my rules." I dialed a number on another phone. "Uncle, please bring those technicians back. Find a scenic spot, entertain them well with good food and drink. Block their phone signals, and don't let them report their work progress to their boss." "Olivia, you wouldn't dare." Henry's roar exploded from the phone. I hung up on him directly. Almost simultaneously, Noah sent a new message. "Ms. Olivia," Amelia posted on social media. I clicked the link. A passive-aggressive post appeared. "The deeper the love, the more it should be buried in the heart. You found your destined one. I truly wish you well." The accompanying image was a selfie of her, eyes red-rimmed. The comments section was already filled with cries of #protect Amelia. "Poor, she loves so selflessly. The ex-wife is going too far." Amelia wished them well. What more does she want? "Olivia is such a venomous woman. No wonder Henry doesn't love her." I turned off my phone and tossed it onto the sofa beside me. I picked up the landline from the coffee table and dialed Uncle's extension. "Uncle, he should be on his way up. Let's begin." Bang! With a loud crash, the door was kicked open from the outside. The door panel slammed against the wall, bounced back, and hung precariously. Henry stood in the doorway, a button missing from his suit jacket, his tie askew, and his eyes bloodshot. Behind him were two men, his vice and his technical, both looking equally distraught. Olivia. Henry stormed in and slammed a stack of printed financial reports onto the coffee table in front of me. All brick-and-mortar channels have been sealed off, the logistics chain is completely broken, and all core technicians are missing. He pointed at my nose, his voice hoarse with rage. This is your doing, isn't it? You destroyed my company, all for your pathetic jealousy? I slowly lifted my head, my gaze sweeping over his face, distorted by anger. Henry, have you forgotten? This land you're standing on, this house you're in, it belongs to the Luo family, not the Hayes family. Henry's face instant. TLY drained from crimson to ashen. The president behind him, likely wanting to show loyalty, bravely chimed in. Mr. Henry was also acting for the good of the company. Business entertaining is unavoidable. Ms. Luo, as his wife, you should be more understanding, not stab him in the back. I slowly turned my head, my gaze settling coldly on the vice's face. Be understanding that on our wedding anniversary, he ran off to celebrate another woman's birthday? Be understanding that he went viral online with someone else, while I, his wife, had to take calls from the board of directors demanding answers? Or should I be understanding of you? My eyes suddenly sharpened. A vice earning $1 million a year, and your head is full of mush? He pays you a salary, not dog food to be his pet. The president's face instantly turned a deep crimson, his lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. Enough. Henry shoved the vice aside and roared at me. That was business entertaining. A necessary charade. Amelia can bring me hundreds of millions in investment. What about you? What can you bring me? Besides using your shady family influence to cause trouble for me, what else are you good for? Don't use business entertaining as your excuse, I said, looking at him coldly, my eyes filled with disappointment. You're truly unique, treating dirty deeds as achievements and parading your affair like a badge of honor. You're completely unreasonable. Henry lost all control, raising his hand and swinging a slap towards my face. I shifted my body, my right foot kicking straight for his knee. Henry lost his balance, falling forward and landing on his knees before me. I bent down, bringing my face close to where his hand had swung. With my fingertip, I tapped my own cheek. Hit here. Harder. Henry's eyes were bloodshot with rage. He tried to stand, but his right leg refused to cooperate, sending him clumsily falling back down again. Henry, you can't even stand steady now. I straightened up, looking down at him. Who gave you the nerve to lay a hand on me? Henry, do you really think Olivia is easy to bully? Just then, footsteps sounded at the door. Uncle appeared silently at the living room entrance, accompanied by 4 men in dark tailored suits. Their arrival instantly dropped the air in the room to freezing. Uncle's gaze swept over the chaotic mess on the floor, finally resting on Henry. He bowed slightly. Mr. Hayes, our late master had a rule. No loud commotions in the house. And certainly, no laying hands on Olivia. Olivia, you just wait. You hear me, you just wait. He was being escorted out by 2 bodyguards, still yelling defiant curses. Noah's call came in again, this time with unconcealed excitement in his voice. Ms. Olivia, it's done. Word from the Havenport is that the batch of chips Hayes Tech had stored in the dock warehouses, destined for Europe, has all been impounded due to the fire safety inspection. This cargo is worth $300 million, and they signed a high-stakes agreement. If delivery is delayed, Hayes will have to pay 3 times the penalty fee. $900 million? I swirled the whiskey in my glass. Not enough. It's not enough to truly cripple him. Ms. Olivia, what do you mean? Continue, I said. Have the elders who follow us spread the word. Tell them Olivia is preparing to separate from the Hayes family. All the Brotherhood's businesses under my name will be peeled away from Hayes' portfolio. Noah gasped. Ms. Olivia, once this news gets out, Hayes' stock price will completely collapse. That's exactly what I want, for it to collapse. Half an hour later, Henry's father, Mr. William, the chairman of Hayes, arrived. He brought no bodyguards, only 2 shrewd-looking, capable lawyers. Upon entering, he confidently settled onto the sofa. Dressed in a dignified Chinese-style jacket with frog closures, his face bore an arrogant expression. I'm here, so let's be clear, he began. Immediately have your people back off and cease all these petty maneuvers. Then, hold a press conference in your name, stating that the logistics disruption was a system error and the technicians are on company-arranged group leave. He picked up the teacup in front of him, not even glancing at me. The family's reputation cannot be ruined by an unthinking woman like you. Mr. William, I finally spoke. The one ruining the Hayes family's reputation isn't me, it's your son, who can't control himself. On our wedding anniversary, he secretly met his mistress, causing a scandal all over Havenport. My not directly making him disappear from this industry is already showing great deference to your family." Mr. William paused, mid-sip. He looked up, a glint of coldness flashing in his murky yet shrewd eyes. "What do you want? Money? Or shares in Hayes? Name your price, as long as it's not excessive, I can satisfy you." He treated the matter as a negotiable transaction. I smiled. I picked up the cold water and splashed it onto the carpet by his feet. The water quickly spread, forming a dark stain. "Mr. William, I don't want anything," I said, meeting his scrutinizing gaze, enunciating each word. "I want an explanation from you." Mr. William scoffed as if he'd heard a tremendous joke. "Olivia, are you still dreaming? In business circles, what the Hayes family says is the rule." His tone was full of disdain, and he began mercilessly revealing my past indiscretions. "Don't forget, your Luo family has long since declined, it's just an empty shell. Those outdated businesses and connections your father left behind are ancient history. If it weren't for the Hayes family secretly and openly supporting you these past few years, your docks and fleets would have been swallowed whole by now, leaving nothing but scraps." He put down his teacup, pulled a document from his lawyer's briefcase, and slapped it onto the table. It was a divorce papers. 1 hour, he said, holding up a single finger, issuing high S ultimatum. If I don't see a public apology from you in an hour, these divorce papers will take effect immediately. You will leave with nothing. And what's more, I'll make sure every media outlet in Havenport knows that your marital misconduct, cheating on Henry, forced the Hayes family to kick you out. This was blatant blackmail and slander. Uncle's expression changed, and he stepped forward, about to speak. I raised my hand to stop him. I looked at Mr. William and smiled. "Mr. William, do you think that because my Luo family has fallen, Olivia is just a soft target for you to manipulate? Your biggest mistake was treating me like a pretty ornament, dependent on the Hayes family to survive. But I'm not. Do you truly believe the Luo family has such limited power?" Mr. William's face completely darkened. He gave me a deep look, then turned and left with his lawyers. Uncle picked up the divorce papers, his brows tightly furrowed. "Olivia, the Hayes family's deep-rooted legitimate connections are extensive. If they're determined to spread malicious rumors, it could be difficult for us." I took the agreement from his hand, casually tore it in half, and tossed it into the trash can. "Legitimate connections?" I patted Uncle's shoulder. "Then let them see how the underground operates. Uncle, notify the Tonight at 10, we'll hold a council meeting. Tell them that Olivia is taking charge tonight." An hour hadn't even passed. Amelia started a live stream on her personal account. The title of the stream was, "I'm sorry, I just to live." In the video, she was wearing a loose hospital gown, sitting on a hospital bed. Thick bandages were wrapped around her wrist, and her face was pale and bloodless. I didn't know things would turn out this way. She faced the camera, her eyes red, her voice choked. Mr. Henry just pitied me, seeing how hard it was for me to struggle alone in Havenport, so he helped me a few times. "Ms. Luo, if you have any grievances, please direct them at me. I beg you. Please don't make things difficult for Mr. Henry anymore. His company, it's truly his life's work." The live chat instantly exploded. "Help! Was she forced to attempt suicide by wrist slashing? Olivia is too cruel. This venomous woman. Mr. Henry, divorce her quickly. Marrying such a woman is truly terrible luck. Poor, she loves so selflessly." At that moment, all the public's blame was hurled at me. Uncle stood behind me, his face grim as he watched the live stream on the tablet. "Olivia, should I have someone?" "No need." I closed the live stream, switched channels, and started watching financial news. Let her act. The more convincing her performance, the harder she'll fall. The next second, a well-known gossip blogger with millions of followers immediately posted a set of high-definition comparison photos. The first image showed Amelia's wrist wrapped in bandages during her live stream. The second image was a photo taken of her half an hour earlier in the parking lot of a private clinic. In the photo, she was wearing the same hospital gown, carrying a Hermes bag, and chatting cheerfully with her assistant. Her wrist was smooth and unblemished, her skin delicate, with no wounds whatsoever. The hospital room was also revealed to be a VIP suite provided by that private clinic for VIP guests, costing $88,000 a day. The trending topics instantly exploded, each one more sarcastic than the last. Amelia's pity act. Hashtag Amelia the actress of the year. Hashtag empty bandage. Before the Hayes family's PR team could even react, my people released a second bombshell. In the past year, Amelia had used Henry's connections to poach endorsement deals for 3 major brands and several roles in large-scale film and television productions from other artists at her company. One of those roles originally belonged to an actress who, after having her resources stolen, tragically died by suicide. Henry's phone call came in again, as soon as I sword, his deafening roar began. "Olivia, do you really have to be so ruthless? Amelia is just a young girl who just started out. She doesn't understand anything. Are you proud of yourself for destroying her with such despicable tactics?" I held the phone away from my ear, waiting for him to finish yelling. "Henry," I said, "in your mind, are you and Amelia some kind of chosen ones, unjustly wronged? If she cries, it's because I forced her. If she lies and acts, it's because I harmed her. So what am I? This bright green hat on my head, you two personally placed it there, and now I'm supposed to kneel and applaud your true love? Go to her hospital room now and comfort her heart, fragile as glass. Oh, and by the way, remind her next time she acts, to make her props a little more convincing, and stop treating the audience like fools." The moment I finished speaking, I gave him no chance to retort and hung up immediately. A few minutes later, the official Hayes account issued a strongly worded announcement. Effective immediately, Hayes will formally sue Ms. Olivia for malicious defamation, unfair business competition, and other acts, pursuing full legal accountability. Immediately after, several banks allied with the Hayes family sent me asset freeze notices almost simultaneously. Uncle, holding a stack of recently faxed documents, hurried into the study, his voice unusually grave. "Olivia, all our overt company assets and the cash flow in our bank accounts have been completely locked down." Henry's text message came through, brimming with a victor's smugness. "I'm sending people to reclaim the family estate tomorrow. I've unilaterally filed the divorce papers with the court. Olivia, if you don't get out now, I'll have the police escort you." I looked at the message, then chuckled softly to myself, ignoring it. He was likely completely enraged by my attitude. Less than half an hour later, the gate to the family estate was forcibly breached by a group of people. Henry, leading his lawyer and 2 court officers, stormed directly into my living room. Henry, flanked by the court officers and his lawyer, stood aggressively in the center of the living room. "Olivia, you're asking for trouble." He pointed at me, his face showing undisguised satisfaction. "This estate is under the Hayes family's name. Now, immediately, get out." I leaned comfortably in the ornate armchair, slowly sipping from my teacup, without even lifting an eyelid. "Mr. Henry, have you done so much business that you've forgotten the most basic property law?" My voice was not loud, but it clearly reached everyone present. "Open your eyes and see clearly. The deed and property title for this estate have never been under your Hayes family's name. It's registered under the Lewell family's assets. As my family inheritance, it was merely lent to the Hayes family to live in. Now, I no longer wish to lend it." Henry froze completely. His arrogant father had evidently never told him about this. The lawyer beside him frantically rummaged through documents in his briefcase, his face growing paler with each page, cold sweat beading on his forehead. Henry refused to believe it, or perhaps, didn't want to. He roared at me. "Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. My father bought this estate." "Your father bought it?" I stood up, looking down at him, the scorn on my lips deepening. "What he bought was the right to use this estate for 30 years, not ownership. If you don't believe me, have your lawyer take a good look at the last page of the contract. It clearly states that the final right of interpretation belongs to me." I stepped forward, my presence completely overpowering him. "So, Henry, you brought outsiders and trespassed onto my private property. Tell me, should I call the police and charge you with trespassing?" The 2 court officers exchanged glances, clearly realizing this was a complex family and property dispute, and instinctively took a step back, distancing themselves from Henry. "Olivia." Henry was furious, his face bright red, his hand pointing at me trembling. "You just wait. I'll get back at you for this, 10-fold, 100-fold. I'll make sure you can't even get a meal in Havenport." I gently raised my hand, and the teacup settled steadily on the table, the porcelain emitting a crisp, pleasing sound. "All right, I'll be waiting." I turned to Uncle, my voice calm again. "Uncle, escort them out. And tell Mr. Hayes, next time he visits someone's home, remember to ring the doorbell. Otherwise, the dogs I keep in my yard aren't very friendly and don't recognize strangers." Uncle waved his hand. The 4 men in black who had been standing by the door immediately stepped forward. Henry was half carried, half dragged out the main gate. 10 p.m. at the Havenport's main hall. A massive pearwood round table was filled with people. These were old comrades who had followed my father for decades, the elders of the brotherhood. I sat in the main seat, the head's position, which had been vacant for 3 years. Uncle stood behind me. I placed the dragon in the center of the table. I've asked you all here tonight for one purpose. I surveyed the room, all eyes were fixed on me. There was scrutiny, doubt, and expectation. Uncle, the oldest elder in the brotherhood, sat to my left. Leaning on his cane, he slowly began to speak. Olivia, we know you've been wronged. That is indeed a scoundrel. But is it an overreaction to use the entire brotherhood's network for a mere family matter? These past few days, the Havenport has been in chaos, and many of our brothers who rely on us for their livelihoods have been complaining. Uncle, across from him, immediately slammed the table. Uncle, you can't say that. That wasn't slapping Olivia's face, he was slapping the face of the entire Havenport. If it weren't for the head's reputation back then, the Hayes family would be nothing. Now that the head is gone, they dare to bully his daughter. Like this? How can we stand for it? Instantly, the hall erupted into discussion, divided into 2 factions. I remained silent, listening quietly. When they had mostly finished arguing, I raised my hand and gently tapped the tabletop. The hall instantly fell silent. Uncle, both of you make valid points. But today, I'm not consulting with you. I stood up, picked up the dragon from the table, and slowly slid it back onto my ring finger. I am informing you. My father, on his deathbed, entrusted this ring to me, thereby entrusting the entire Havenport to me. From today forward, I, Olivia, am the head of the Havenport. My decisions are the Brotherhood's decisions. I looked at Uncle, a complex light flickered in his murky eyes. Uncle, I know what you're worried about. You're afraid I'm young, impulsive, and will lead our brothers down the wrong path. I took a document from Uncle's hand and pushed it to the center of the table. These are a few small ventures I've undertaken in the past 2 years, without the Hayes family's knowledge. 3 raw jade mining veins in South, diamond mining rights in 2 African countries, and a custom jewelry order for European royalty. The profits are 3 times that of all the Brotherhood's current businesses combined. The entire room was stunned. Uncle picked up the document, his hands trembling slightly. After reading it, he passed it to the person next to him to circulate. Each person's expression, after seeing the document, shifted from doubt to shock. I spoke again, my voice not loud, but resolute. My father's era has passed. Sticking to this small corner of the city, will eventually be completely devoured. I want the entire Havenport to follow me and expand our business globally. And the Hayes family will be my first major conquest. Uncle let out a long sigh, stood up, and bowed deeply to me. Welcome, head. In an instant, everyone in the hall stood up and chanted in unison, welcome, head. I want the Hayes family to completely collapse. The person on the other end of the phone was Alexander, Henry's biggest business rival, and the most enigmatic arms dealer from overseas. We met at an exclusive private club not open to the public. He looked younger and more dangerous than rumors suggested. Without preamble, he slid a document across the table. This is a pass to all the overseas channels I control, along with exclusive mining rights contracts for 3 countries in South. The conditions he offered were enough to drive any businessman mad. Anything you want, I can give you. His objective was equally clear. He lifted his eyes, and his deep, unfathomable pupils gleamed with a businessman's unique shrewdness and ambition. My condition is simple. I want all the patents for the core technology Henry possesses, and all future orders he signed with mainland authorities. I smiled, my thumb unconsciously rubbing the dragon on my ring finger. Mr. Alexander, you certainly have quite an appetite. To be a king, you must have the readiness and the appetite to devour everything. He picked up the whiskey from the table, the amber liquid swirling gently at his fingertips. Ms. Luo, he leaned forward slightly, now, it's your turn to prove to me whether you're worth such a massive gamble. I stood up and produced a ledger. Alexander's gaze fell on it. What is this? Every unclean transaction Henry has made, from starting with nothing until today, is in there. I sat back down, leaning against the chair. His early transfer records showing embezzlement of public funds for bribery of officials, the fraudulent contracts he created to embezzle public funds for his IPO, and I paused, looking at him, enunciating each word of my deadliest leverage. The full details of the human life he covered up behind his first fortune. This information is enough to put him and the entire Hayes family behind him in a high-security prison for good. For the first time, Alexander's expression showed a clear flicker of emotion. He reached out, but didn't immediately open it, simply staring at the seemingly ordinary ledger. How did you get it? I picked up my glass of whiskey and took a small sip. A rule my father left behind. For every person doing business on our territory, we keep a ledger on them. For unforeseen circumstances. Alexander gently tapped the black cover of the ledger with his knuckles, producing a dull thud. He looked up, his gaze returning to me, a hint of admiration in his eyes. Olivia, you hide your cards well. The moment midnight struck, Haystack's backup server located overseas was silently breached. An encrypted, top-secret document was simultaneously sent to Interpol and the tax departments of several countries. My personal phone rang again. It was Henry calling from the detention center. Olivia, are you insane? You're truly insane. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, watching Uncle's men below, who had completely taken over security at the Hayes headquarters. No, I'm not insane. I'm just cleaning house. The family reacted quickly, immediately spending money to release a press release claiming the evidence was purely fabricated. But less than 10 minutes later, Alexander's multinational legal team directly sent a notarized expert report with legal validity to all major media outlets worldwide. The report's conclusion was a single sentence: all chains of evidence are complete and true. Our party is willing to bear full legal responsibility for this. Public opinion completely exploded. Physical and reputational strikes were launched simultaneously. Almost at the exact moment the legal letter was issued, Henry's secret data center in the suburbs, used to store core data, unexpectedly caught fire. When the fire trucks arrived, the flames were soaring. All his unbacked-up core business data and technical materials were consumed by the inferno. The contents of that black ledger were anonymously exposed by Alexander's team on major financial forums, at a rate of 1 page per hour. Each page contained a piece of damning evidence sufficient to ruin the Hayes family irrevocably. Official bodies quickly intervened. In less than 24 hours, a joint investigation team formally entered Hayes. Photos of Henry, handcuffed and led out of the group's building, became the top headline on all news websites. His so-called mistress, Amelia, was also taken in for questioning, suspected of involvement in money laundering and massive tax evasion. A reporter managed to photograph her in the police station's underground parking garage. Flanked by 2 female officers, she was still hysterically screaming, "It's not my fault. I don't know anything." Hayes stock price hit its daily limit down for more than 10 consecutive trading days, its market value completely evaporating overnight. Alexander seized the opportunity to acquire all of Hayes' remaining quality assets and technology patents at the lowest possible price. Mr. Williams' hair turned white overnight. He came to my door in person, carrying the deed to the Hayes family estate, to plead with me. Uncle stopped him at the gate, not even letting him inside. I watched from the monitor screen as the once haughty old man now stood humbly in the wind, his back stooped. I picked up the intercom, and my voice carried through the gate speaker. "Mr. William, when you held the divorce papers and forced me to leave with nothing, did you ever imagine a day like this?" The divorce proceedings went smoothly. Henry signed the papers in prison, and everything under his name was transferred to my accounts as compensation. The day before he was to be moved to a high-security prison to serve his sentence, I went to visit him. Separated by thick bulletproof glass, he wore an inmate uniform, his hair shaved into a buzz cut. "Why?" His voice was hoarse, and he stared intently at me. We loved each other so much. I looked at his familiar yet unfamiliar face. The day you betrayed me, all my love for you was withdrawn. I'm not someone who tolerates deceit, and I never show mercy to those who betray me. I spoke slowly, putting a final period on everything between us. Now, to me, you're nothing more than a piece of trash I personally disposed of. I raised my hand, showing him the dragon on my ring finger. Still, I have to thank you for your betrayal. I turned and left, without a backward glance. Alexander was waiting for me nearby. He wasn't holding cliché flowers, but a printed new cooperation agreement. "I've completely secured the market in South." He opened the car door for me, his tone calm. I got into the car and took the agreement. "Good. Next, Europe." The car drove steadily into the distance, leaving the gray prison and all its ruins far behind. 5 years later, Henry was released from prison early due to good behavior. Uncle casually mentioned this news when he was reporting on work to me. I showed no reaction. Olivia, former Hayes Tech CEO Henry, is reportedly driving a ride-sharing service in a small Midwestern city. Because of his poor service attitude, he's received multiple complaints from passengers, and his driver's license is almost revoked. My life no longer intersected with his. That summer, Alexander and I, along with our respective elite teams, chartered a plane to a South Island for our annual strategy meeting. On the way to the airport, while waiting at a red light, a dilapidated roadside car wash flashed past the car window. A hunched figure was strenuously holding up a high-pressure washer, spraying down a semi-truck covered in mud. Splashes of water drenched him, but he seemed oblivious. It was Henry. Alexander, in the driver's seat, turned his head and glanced out the window. "Should I stop?" he asked me in a low voice. I pulled my gaze back, looking again at the traffic light ahead. It had just turned from red to green. I stepped on the gas. "It's green. We have a flight to catch." The car smoothly merged into the congested traffic, speeding towards the airport. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.